Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here, 8:30 a.m. EST. Exciting week. And I jumped on right as I was about to take a trade. So let me execute that really quick. Going to do just a quick Bitcoin scalp long. All right, good to go. Yeah, buddy. So now the word is on the street that the carry trade is being reversed, right? So this unwinding of the carry trade, everybody's talking carry trade, the Japanese Bank of Japan carry trade. Apparently that's being shut off, right? That's what everybody's saying. Look, here's the deal about that. Okay. Now, it might be temporarily shut off. It might be permanently shut off. Maybe they changed course. We don't really know. But what I can say here is that there were a lot of people not talking about this, right? There were a lot of people who didn't even know what it was up until like 2-3 days ago. And we've been talking about it for the better part of a year. Yeah. And the Guerilla actually wrote an article on it in like 2013. So, there's the LARPs. There are people LARPing as, Japanese, central bank policy experts. And then there's just those of us who understood what it was and the effect that it could have from an early time frame. So just know that you heard it here first. All right. Let me go ahead and do a quick screen share. Let's see here. Present, share screen, entire screen. Okay, good. I'm just going to go ahead and map out quick scalpy scalp here. Give me a second to get through it just so happened right as I was starting that conditions got met for this trade. So I gotta line it out real quick. Apologies for the slow start on this. I looked at the economic calendar today and I didn't see a whole lot of activity going on. So, in a way, that's good news. It just means that there's not any like weird news that's going to necessarily, for sure screw up the charts. It doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just means that right now there's nothing slotted to be announced. No economic data coming out. Nothing like that right now. Of course, you could have the Bank of Japan randomly make an announcement and not throw everything off. I mean, this is what it is to trade volatility. And, I scalp a lot during this volatility time because basically things can change really fast. So let's jump over to just modify. Okay, sorry, I just had to kind of fix what I was doing there. Let's take a look at the charts real quick. And apparently what had happened was the USD JPY rallied after BOJ's Uchida spoke, earnings in focus, new squawk European market. So basically, it was an aggressive reaction to comments from BOJ Deputy Governor Uchida, who said they won't hike rates when markets are unstable and must maintain the current degree of monetary easing for the time being. So essentially, what's happened here is that they hiked the rates at a time when the market was delicate. And I got a quick hello here, Justin Bluffington. Take a look at silver. Yeah, we can take a look at silver. Long-term sentiment, I mean, I can just tell you it's bullish. There's not, we'll look at it on the charts, but I could just tell you it's pretty much bullish. Metals are bullish. That's the end of it. But we can look. So anyway, they're reversing right now, at least verbally, saying that they're going to reverse this unwinding of the carry trade, right? They're not going to hike rates. Well, okay, so they hiked rates. So what I'm not seeing here is whether or not they are going to reverse that or if they're just not going to hike anymore. And that I'm not exactly clear on. We just have these words from our sponsors over in the Bank of Japan, right? So we'll get some more data as this comes out. We'll see what actions they are and are not going to take. And we'll go from there, right? We'll just mostly look at the charts and let them tell us what's going on. And of course, the charts are always going to be affected by things like that. These are the kind of news events that will affect the charts, right? When you have a $20 trillion carry trade that gets unwound all of a sudden, or at least the announcements coming that they will be unwound, you're going to see some major stuff happen. And I actually did a show with the Guerilla. I posted the rebroadcast on the Rogue News YouTube and Rumble. And so go ahead and it's on X too. So go ahead and check that out. If you want more details on what that's about, what the JPY is about, and a lot of history leading up to what's happening and a lot of theory as to why it's happening, right? The different reasons why we might be seeing what's happening in the markets. Go ahead and watch that. I don't want to say again what we've already said. And when we have some time right now to take a look at the charts. So right now in the charts, we're going to see some interesting areas here as price approaches some resistance, right? And historically, 62,000, I'm sorry, 60, the most appropriate number right now, looking at where everything has been bouncing, is about 60,100. So just above 60,000. And 60,000 being a psychological number is where we might see price run into trouble on its way up. It doesn't mean that it'll reject. It doesn't mean it won't. It's just going to have to test that area and see how it goes. Now, based on what I'm hearing about the broader market and what's happening, I'm willing to bet that it pops back into this months-long consolidation, which is basically between 60,000 and 72,000. Decent chance it'll pop in there. There was a lot of liquidity down into the 50s. In fact, I did a show 2-3 days ago saying there's a ton of liquidity for price to eat up. And we got a little data from the Guerilla, who does the major Bitcoin deals around the world, saying that a lot of this was algos and retail, and a lot of your big money simply did not sell, and in fact were buying. So that's a decent probability the price will continue up. It doesn't mean it'll do so in a straight line. I'm willing to and again, I'm literally betting on it. The price will at least retest 60, but it might have to make a stop or two on the way up, maybe even grab some liquidity and then test that 60,000. But it might also go straight there. It could. In the current environment, with the reason that markets tanked being literally reversed, or at least verbally reversed and possibly structurally reversed, then you would see price reverse usually, right? That's kind of how that works. And again, we are leading up to an election. Generally, as Mike Mod, one of the gentlemen I've talked to in a different chat groups, he did a look at some historical charts, and usually price of most assets, most risk-on assets, especially when you're looking at the SP 500, usually consolidates into the election. So there's some nice sideways movement. So let's move over to silver for Justin. We look at silver pretty often over in the Algo Factory private group. He's got a lot of metals holders. And yeah, I looked at it yesterday and I saw a decent probability that silver is going to eventually make its way down to 26 and test 26. 30, the low 30s is very hard for silver to break right now. We did see in 2008 when the major stuff happened, when the great financial crisis occurred, we did see that silver outperformed gold. It was much more volatile, right? And that's something that we can expect in times of insanity. And had this, Japanese carry trade situation been allowed to continue to fester, if the Japanese kept raising the rates and the rest of the market kept tanking and nobody stepped in to fix it, then we might see silver actually, and gold and everything else that is real, like commodities, especially safe havens, start to make their way up. But one mistake that people make, they think that just because gold and silver are historically safe havens, they think that they're going to rise when everything else falls. This is true on the long term, not on the short term. Most everything gets liquidated. And a lot of the reason that is because gold, silver, and everything else is traded on the paper market. You've got these basically heavily rehypothecated assets, right? You have assets that, hundreds of times of what actually exists is being traded on a regular daily basis. I think on the COMEX, more silver and more paper silver on the COMEX is traded daily than has actually gotten out of the ground in a year. V the Guerilla, sir, how are you? You're muted, V. And you're muted again.
I was muted. How dare you call me a rehypothecated ass?
You are a rehypothecated, banana-eating mongoloid.
I am. This is very true.
How are you, bro?
Good. Hanging in there, man. I can't complain. The markets are absolute bedlam, and the bedlam does not stop.
We love bedlam.
Yeah, I'm. Here's a little bit of intel for you guys.
Just so you know, before you get into Intel, we're not in the private live lab yet. We are still public.
I'm
So I don't know
glad.
if you want to
I'm
hold
glad you
off.
stopped me. I'll hold off, man.
You
Y'all
gotta
want the
hold off.
juicy details? You got to join the lab. What does the
Yeah.
lab cost you? $1.66 per day, less than the price of a bottle of water, man. We're cheaper than coffee. You can't say no to that. You can't say no.
Nah. Well, we got Justin Bluffington in the chat asking about silver. And I know Justin from a different group, and he actually is an aspiring trader and asking a lot of really good questions. And they eventually want to work with us at Algo Factory. We'll see what he wants. In the meantime, though, he's asking about silver. And V, you got a lot of knowledge on silver. Just for the audience, real quick, V, can you explain sort of why you do know as much as you do about precious metals, especially?
Yeah. Unlike the guy who works at Jimmy John's Coin and Carry or some U.S. outfit, let me explain something to you. U.S. gold brokers or gold, companies that sell precious metals in the U.S. are tiny. They're nothing. They're nothing on the radar screen. Okay, they're absolutely like the size of a pissant. If you've seen what a pissant is, that's what basically a U.S. gold dealer is. It's nothing. The difference between what I do and what they do is I broker for institutions. So oftentimes there's about 3 to 5 of the largest suppliers for precious metals, especially the LBMA variety. I'm not talking about your American gold eagles, which are a really crappy coin. That's another conversation. I'm not talking about your, maple leaves or anything like that. I'm not talking about stuff that's issued by the mint. I'm talking about monetary grade gold, which is the LBMA London Bullion Market Association level. At that level, I've been for the last over a decade been working with an LBMA logistics and procurement company where we supply precious metals for institutions, for very high net worth individuals, so on and so forth. So when we see buys occurring, we see those buys occurring, So, and we move metal by the metric ton. I mean, again, this is monetary grade. This is the type of grade that central banks would buy, that governments would buy, so on and so forth. So that's why I know a little bit more than some guy who's been telling you for the last 10 years that silver's going to go up. Yeah, it's going to go up. You keep saying it, it's going to go up. It's eventually going to happen. But we give you the geopolitical, the geostrategic background as to why and when. And right now, folks, we're in an event-driven scenario. So that's where we are with the market. We're in a very strange time. We're in uncharted territory right now, guys. We're in uncharted territory. We're in territory where the petrodollar has just been killed. That agreement has not been signed. We're in territory where it's the BOJ decided not to raise rates. It's very interesting to see how this all plays out. So what was my long term prospect for silver? I think silver. I really see $400 or $500 an ounce of silver eventually. Eventually, it's going to get there, but not right now, not this year, not next year, not even the year after that. So that's my take on it. Look, here's the other thing. 32 is a very, very critical point. $32 an ounce is a very, very critical number, unless they've done some things to change it. But if you start seeing silver going to 33, 34, we are off to the races, boys and girls, because a lot of things are going to start breaking at the COMEX, especially a lot of the futures contracts. And once that starts breaking, again, these future contracts are all BS. There's no actual physical changing hands. It's just paper shuffling. It's all bullshit. So that's what I have to say about silver.
Sure, and I put a couple arrows on the chart where it got rejected heavily at 32. So it seems to me that
Look at that, say. Well,
you see that.
just like what I said to you guys, 32 is 11. What happened? Every single time, bang, 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 it gets bounced right off of 32.
And a hard bounce, like not just a little something, like they kill it. But it seems that the Comex is using what little power they have left, and maybe even making deals overseas to allow for this to happen. And I don't think China minds. Where China at the I think you told me that the Shanghai they're doing like 100 times in physical what Comex is doing in paper, right?
Right. It's a much more real market, much more liquid, much larger. It's terrible, man. It really is. I mean, we're a joke at this point.
So that's a longer term sentiment. We got Justin, your question answered, and hopefully after enough time, you and I talking in the background, we could get you up to speed and get you an Algo Factory if that's what you want to do. So in the meantime, Via the Guerilla, can you kick us over to the private so we can do it? Just so you know, people, Via the Guerilla was yesterday and the day before on the phone doing deals around the world. And the kind of people that you do deals with, V, we're talking about people adjacent to like cabinet ministers of major first world economies. Like, we're not just talking, so and so with their little, home on a hill in Argentina, which they are probably doing it too. But the point here is that the intel that you get is from people who are like making policy or next people making policy. So we're going to get a taste of that here over the next hour or so, because even though most of the time in the summertime, we don't get as many Thursday drip classes where V comes in with the intel, obviously this week is very different. Summer's usually super quiet, but not this summer. Woo, not this summer at all. So V the Guerilla, please, sir, can you get us out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, don't sit around wondering if it's for you. Join us. And look, this is one of the last few things you can do, okay? That is an exploit that you can take advantage of. So join us, algofactory.tech. And with that being said, Cowboy, take it away.
Join us or die.